Oh, hi, mystery puzzle detectives. I thought I would just pop on and film a little video about clue 2. We do have a lot of triangles to sew in this clue, and a few people were having a few issues with them. So I've got a number of tips for you. First of all, you'll see that in your small packs, you've got small triangles and larger triangles like this. The small triangles have 2 clipped corners. Can you see those? I'll show them this way around. They're probably easier to see. So they have 2 clipped corners and a right angle. Now these, if you had cut them yourself, you would have cut half square triangles. What that means is that this edge and this edge are straight of grain, and this edge is on the bias. So this is the one that can be stretchy. On the other triangles, these ones, I'm going to show you them this way around. That's the wrong side, but it's just easier for you to see. These ones would have been cut as quarter square triangles if you'd had to cut them yourself. So this edge is on the straight of grain, and these 2 edges are stretchy. Now the lovely thing about the triangles in the mystery quilt is that they are die cut, so they're all cut perfectly accurately, and also they have these clipped off corners. And these are what help you to sew things accurately. So when you're sewing your 2 triangles like this together, I'm just going to grab another one of those, one like this. So if you're putting these 2 triangles together, when you put them together, match up those clipped corners there and there. And your seam is going to come through this point here and this point here. So this is our sample of the large sections all sewn together. So I'm just going to sew 2 of these triangles together, and then you'll be able to see where the seam comes through. Now as I'm sewing, I'm really making sure that my 1/4 inch is all the way to the end. So I keep my finger on the left hand side, outside of course my foot, but I guide my fabric all the way through. So now that I've sewn that seam, you can see that the stitching goes right from this end to this end here, and it comes out at the corners. So that's one tip. The next tip is when you do press, I know that I've kept my straight of grain here and here, but you have still got bias edges here and here. So if you press it too hard, if you're too rough with it, it's going to stretch. So do be very gentle when you're pressing these triangles. The next tip is when you sew on your small half triangle, you're going to have this pressed to one side, and then when you're sewing these on, the same thing happens with the blunt tips. So you line up your blunt tips and sew from corner to corner. So you're going to be coming through the bottom corner of this triangle here. So let's sew that one. So that's sewn from this corner to this corner. So here's an oopsie I did earlier. These 2 edges here, I didn't get lined up. So that's another thing to watch for. So I would say the things to watch for are when you're doing your 1/4 inch seam, go through these corners all the time. Be gentle when you're pressing, and make sure that your fabrics are lined up with each other, and you should be fine. So hope you enjoy sewing month 2.